la mattina ci svegliamo verso le 2, io consiglio a tutti, fate gli attori, che stanno a fare gli ingegneri?
Anche oggi si guadagna domani.
110 e no.
Sono un vecchio sparring partner.
La paura non è debolezza, anzi, è nella paura che si viene il coraggio.
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. I'd like to welcome you from the Italian Culture Institute of Amsterdam. I am extremely happy and pleased that today we will start the first series of Italian documentaries, Voci Lontane Così Vicine, organized in cooperation with Rai Cinema and the Association of Italian Documentary Film Directors. I am deeply honored to have with us in this inauguration Anna Laura Ulrico, who is the Undersecretary for the Ministry of the Cultural Heritage of Italy. And next to me, to represent the embassy, we have the Veronica Ferrucci. She is in charge of the foreign affairs for the Italian embassy at The Hague. To open this series, which was organized thanks to extraordinary fundings provided by the to the Italian Culture Institute of Amsterdam, based on the extraordinary fund provided to promote events and cultural events, and promotional events in an integrated way. I am very happy to welcome our guests today. I would like to welcome the director, Franco Piavoli, Maestro Piavoli. We will broadcast the first two documentaries after the first edition. This festival will last from the 1st of December until the 27th of January. I would like to welcome Mrs. Campinella, the President of the Italian Documentary Film Director, Dr. Guido Gianmaria, Director of Rai Doc, and also Mrs. Caterina D'Amico, who accompanied us during this long journey for the training program Lesson of Cinema, and she will be with us in this new traveling journey through the history of our country, through the vision of these documentaries. I would like to add that this project was strongly promoted by the Italian Culture Institute and by Mr. Carlo Gentile, and this shows that the future should not only be forecast, but it must be made possible. As Anatole de Saint-Exupéry used to say, I would like to now give the floor to the representative of the Italian Embassy at The Hague, Veronica Ferrucci, and I would like to thank again Mrs. Anna Laura Ulrico, Under Secretary of State for the Ministry of Cultural Heritage of Italy. I am deeply honored that you have decided to start this meeting today, so I would like to thank you again. I would like to give the floor to Mrs. Veronica Ferrucci. Thank you very much. Thank you to all our guests, starting from the Undersecretary Ulrico. She decided to dedicate her time. Dr. Gentile, Mrs. Campinella, Caterina D'Amico, Franco Piavoli. This initiative is very, very useful, and I would like to deeply, from the deep of my heart, to thank the director. She's leaving now, she's going to Morocco, so she will be deeply missed. She will leave us a big void, because this series allows us to show the Netherlands the Italian tradition of documentaries, which is not so well known. Probably people know other forms of expressions which are extremely valid. So this series, this festival, starting from this new documentary from Piavoli, will help us know Italy under a completely different perspective. So I would like to thank again the director. I'd like to thank Rai and our experts that are present here today for their contribution. And I would like to give the floor to the Undersecretary of for the Cultural Heritage, Mrs. Orrico, that I would like to thank again for honoring us with her presence. She's a friend also of the Netherlands, so a few months ago she was here to inaugurate, to open a very prestigious festival, exhibition, so we are really happy and honored to have you here today to start this important initiative. Thank you so much, and I'm confident that the audience will appreciate today's production. Thank you so much. Good evening. I am very happy to welcome, to give you the greetings of the Undersecretary of the Cultural Heritage. This is an initiative that promotes Italian documentaries, so through the documentaries, the Italian culture beyond our borders. I'd like to thank in particular Mrs. Carmela Callea, the director of the Italian Culture Institute of Amsterdam, who strongly wanted to organize this initiative. Mrs. Veronica Fenucci, representative of the Italian Embassy in the Netherlands, the director of Rai documentary Duilio Gianmaria, and all the other speakers that will speak today, and all the other stakeholders who contributed with their work, with their commitment to create this event. The documentary is a very powerful tool which witnesses problems. It's a genre that is loved by the audience, by the public as a whole, because it's capable of telling the truth without filters in a very straightforward way and very innovative language. So documentary is also one of the best expressions of Made in Italy, because it tells and continues to tell the Italian culture, the history, the science, the beauty, the current events and the contradictions, the fragility of our country. In one word, our reality. Italy has a great school which is appreciated everywhere in the world, and this is witnessed also by the prestigious awards that we achieved in the last few years. So we are very happy about these festivals, which have the merit of creating an international reputation for our documentaries, to make them well known, to make them known to the general public. And with Rai Doc, Rai has created finally a structure which is fully dedicated to documentaries and has accepted a very important challenge, which is not easy. In a year that is so complex and dramatic as the one that we're living at the moment because of the pandemic. I am sure that this 16 steps journey will be much enjoyed and will receive the success it deserves. So I would like to congratulate everyone for this initiative. So I wish you a very fruitful meeting. Thank you so much. Thank you for your beautiful words. Thank you for your support. She has some institutional commitments at the Parliament. She is still working at the Parliament. This is a very special time for our country. So I'd like to ask you one question. So we often talked about cinema. Can I just ask you a promise, maybe your support to the world of documentaries, that the world of documentaries will be supported by you? I don't need to make a promise really, because mine is a complete commitment which concerns the whole supply chain of documentaries. Documentaries are very, very important, and they can never be neglected by us. Behind a documentary and behind our other audiovisual products, there are a series of professionals, a very important creativity of our country, the Italian talent that we need to feed and we need to protect and support, so that the new generation will get closer and closer to this professional world. In fact, personally, I am working at a new project, a training project, which is at the national level, whose aim is to harmonize the training in the field of cinema and audiovisual industry, to make sure that all new professionals in this sector in this field will be updated and harmonized, and so that young people will find within their own territories and regions will find new opportunities from a training point of view in the industry of cinema and audiovisual and documentaries as well. Thank you so much for your renewed commitment and confirmed commitment. We are happy to hear from an institutional representative of that in a special time such as this. The spotlights will be still on the various activities of our industry, including documentaries. Thank you so much. On behalf of everyone, of our guests, I leave you to your commitments, and I hope to see you very soon. Yes, it will be my pleasure. Thank you. Good night. All right, let's continue with our program, with our schedule. I'd like to give the floor to Caterina D'Amico, with whom I've shared this initiative, Claudia Pampinella, and then Caterina, you have the floor now. I'd like to be very brief, because we really want to watch and listen to Maestro Piavoli, who has given us the honor of being our first guest today and opened this important festival, which has the aim of enlightening, shedding a new light on documentaries, Italian documentaries. In this period of darkness, documentaries, Italian documentaries, but also was not a very appreciated genre from an historical viewpoint, probably because the Italian cinema had the first goal of representing the reality. Italian cinema is very well known in the world for being a realistic kind of cinema, which dedicated a lot of time and effort to tell in various forms and elaborate forms real life. So maybe that's the reason why documentaries was a not very popular genre. As a matter of fact, in the last 20 years, Italian documentaries have become more popular. It has grown considerably in every single sector, in every single field and forms. And this has given life to a big quantity, a wide range of high quality products, which invaded, so to speak, it has the strength to invade also the other international markets, which it is very difficult, you see, because the Italian audience is not used to documentaries. Even the Italian audience sometimes mistake documentary for a reportage. They don't understand what they are, and the audience has shown a rising interest Now, to present this festival, which is so ambitious, even 16 titles are in the schedules, by the Italian Institute, it's really a challenge because the documentary tradition of the Netherlands is very strong. One of the most important documents in the world field as LINF has its headquarters in the Netherlands and is the place where many documentary directors go to contemplate the other authors' works. So it is really I feel like I'm really doing a challenge to propose 16 new titles to the Italian audience, which is not used to beautiful documentaries such as those. I'm sure they will be very effective, not only to tell and open new windows on the Italian reality, but they will help us discover authors that are very particular, unique, and starting from Maestro Piavoli. So that's all for now. We will have the occasion to meet again and to speak about what is being done in Italy in the field of training in the documentary industry. I'd like to give the floor now to Claudia Pampinella. She's guiding the Glorious Association, which has turned 20, is now at its 20th birthday. So best wishes to all of you, because your task is not easy with this big creativity that is going on. Thank you so much, Caterina, for your nice words. That's very interesting, and I'd like to thank Carlo Gentile for involving me in this initiative, in this project, which, as Caterina pointed out, has 16 steps. It's quite challenging, but I think it's necessary because it can really throw new, very important names, starting with Maestro Piavoli, and with this fantastic, beautiful cinema, which still astonishes us. All this confirms that the strength of the documentary is really impressive. Think about all the awards that documentaries has received on the Italian market during the festivals. Think about Rosie. Think about what Italian documentaries can do and their presence on the Italian market within the international festivals. So Italian documentaries, with their strong specificity, has a penetration impact that is really outstanding in the international market. In our association, we work to create international documentaries, and we organize lessons. In the info market, the last delegation was made up of 45 productions. So the internationalization is the main objective of our projects, and it is very, very important for the Italian tradition, because the international market, the festivals, allows documentaries to open up new perspectives, to open up new creative opportunities, new projects, new productions that are very important exchange. And the Italian documentary is really up to the international market because there are many professionals at stake. So, for example, what's going on at the moment in Italy, as Duilio Gianmaria said, documentaries are becoming more and more relevant on the market, as we talked about 20 years ago. But I would like to add that in this very time, the Italian documentaries are becoming are are enjoying a very important exposure, especially because the public service, public broadcasters have decided to invest in these important initiatives. After so many years when this reality, this product did not exist, now it exists. And this means that we have acknowledged, we've become aware of its potential and can tell the reality in a very penetrating way. We live a very dramatic time, a time when the world has changed, and this is the right time for documentaries, because documentaries can really tell the truth, they can tell reality from a privileged perspective. So the public service has decided to support this. As the president of my association, I think that the public service should invest even more and put at the disposal of our association, or the documentaries in general, very important funds. Because entertainment is important, but also documentaries are important, because they have a different perspective, a different point of view, an objective point of view on reality. So documentaries represent a very strong tool which must be supported by the institutions. We had a chance in the past to listen to the words of Undersecretary Enrico. The ministry is doing so much to support documentaries, especially they are supporting the genre, the category, the professions through very important funds and measures aimed at helping documentary. But I don't think this is enough. I think that it's even more important now to promote the genre, to make people aware that the genre exists.
E qui forse mi ripeterò, finanziamenti importanti a sostegno. Aggiungo un'altra cosa.
And so I hope that there will be more funds. I would like to add another important thing. The theatres at the moment, we know that this is a dramatic time for theatres. They're closed, most of them are closed due to the pandemic. I think that theatre will live again a golden age, and that documentaries will be included in a privileged world, in a more objective world. They will be present again. They will find their own place in the cinema reality, and my wish is that theatre will be open again. And last but not least, the world of documentary, the audience of documentaries has changed with the platform, with the social media. I am not going to say that social media are useless. All we have to do is to regulate the platforms because that traditional methods like theatres, for example, continue to live. They can find their own place. So this is the point of view of the Italian documentary directors, which is a very modern genre, transversal, capable of telling the truth like anyone else, like no one else does. Thank you. Thank you, Claudia, for your availability, for being today with us. I'd like to thank Duilio for his patience. You received compliments from everyone, but I remember that travel in the heart of China. I remember that you have a very extensive experience in documentaries. So the fact that you were nominated as director of Doc is not a surprise to me. Yes, the first co-production, Italian-Chinese co-production, dates back to Montaldo. So that a long time ago, the year we broadcast this documentary was 2011, and then there was a big gap. Thank you for your opportunity, Carlo. Thank you for inviting me, and thank to the Italian diplomacy representative in the Netherlands. It is very important. The Netherlands is the place where the headquarters of many important documentary offices are located. So there is a strong will to support this sector. And thank you, Caterina D'Amico. She said that we are on the same side and we're fighting the same war. My television is a very important tile in this mosaic because it is true that this sector requires fine-tuning. We have great opportunities, we have great producers. I have a producer sitting next to me. Let me introduce him to you. We don't have time to do anything, unfortunately. So we had a meeting with Raffaele Brunetti. Is the procedure of a beautiful documentary on Rossellini that I was lucky enough to present in Pretaria with them. Yeah, I saw it. I introduced it. Yeah, I presented it. Hi, hello. So this office is always open and full of proposals and projects. Claudia knows that only too well. And you know, it is a very challenging job, but also a really fantastic job. So we need to work all together to give more value to this product. I can give you some essential data I'm working on. The internationalization of the supply chain is very important. I think we need to do an extra effort to bring documentaries in the world, the Italian documentaries in the world. We need to work on the innovation. We need to innovate the language. I promoted a very important initiative at the Turin Festival. We have analyzed some of the most important documentaries in the last few years with some German producers. So there's still a lot to do to improve the performance and the organization. But this place that you can see is one of the maybe the places that can really make a difference. But to do it, we need to have two legs. So our proposal will be a two-legged proposal. One leg is the budget. Two, placement of documentaries in the schedule. RAI is already doing a lot, but our offer is consumable. So our company is very strong in proposing new documentaries. It concentrates its energy in the creation of programs that use documentaries. We are not really used to put documentaries in the right schedules. So we know to create audience and to promote documentaries, which means this is what RAI Fiction has done in the last few years. We have created a new habit, a new audience, a new Italian language. Nowadays, Italian fiction is recognized all over the world. The producers are popular all over the world, and there is a sort of made in Italy, Italian touch in our Italian fictions. So we should be able to do the same for documentaries as well. Today I spoke with my Caroline Breard, my colleague from France Television, and she said that they wish that this entrance of Italian documentaries can take place very soon. The international world says that we are very frank, very open. So she said, look, Duilio, Italian documentaries, in my opinion, hasn't got yet the usual characteristics that other documentaries have to become the heads of some projects, which means that there is still room for improvement. This world somehow must be conquered or reconquered, or we need to reposition ourselves, and I'm here to do it. This is my aim, this is my goal, and I hope I'll be able to do it in the best possible way with the Italian producers who are the engine of this activity. However, we need to work all together. We need to go all in the same direction. In general, this industry is too fragmented, unfortunately, and this creates dispersion of resources but I'm very optimistic. We are very optimistic too. Even Carmela Garlea was very optimistic. She offered documentaries for the first time.
Festival Internazionale dei Documentari di Amsterdam, ma quello diciamo è un'istituzione che...
So the International Festival of Amsterdam is a different institution which presents documentaries from all over the world. So this, thanks to the Italian Cultural Institute, we are able to show our documentaries in the Netherlands, or at least a part of them. So with Claudia's help, we will be able to create new initiatives that can involve also other parts of the world. I'd like to ask you, feel free, to stay, or if you have any other commitments. Julie, especially you, we will contact you again during our next appointments. Franco Piavoli, now you have the floor. Thank you, Maestro, for being with us. Is one of the main directors that we have. You are one of the major roles. I would like to ask you a question. Your story reminds me of a very famous musician that we saw in the soundtrack, Paolo Conte. You wanted to be a lawyer, you studied to become a lawyer, but then you are a documentary film director. What happened? Well, what happened? The attraction towards cinema in general and for documentaries in particular was very strong. So it prevailed over my studies, law studies, and I taught for many years law and management in technical institutions, so I was able to dedicate my time exclusively to the activity of documentaries in a way. You started with short films, right? I did. While I was a lawyer, I used to shoot very short films. I tried, situations and real situations in many realities. So, do you want me to speak about this? Well, you can say whatever you want. I mean, we would like to know more about you. You started with very short films in 1953, and then you became famous in Venice with your masterpiece that made you very popular, The Blue Planet, in 1982. Yes, in 53-54, I am the son of a doctor, and I followed the faces of the patients in the waiting room, and they were very restless, anxious. So I managed to, with a very small camera, to document these faces, this tension, this mood in the waiting room. And the name of the documentary was The Doctor's Office. So this was one of my first films, and then others. Yes, I can't remember all of them. And the one that was more visible in a way was Sunday night, 1961, I think, which was a documentary about dancing, popular dancing. In the past, I remember that people used to dance in summertime in their courtyards, and that was a great opportunity for love affairs, love stories, and this was one of my first documentaries. When I worked as a lawyer, I remember that during my activity, also when I worked as a teacher. And then what really struck me, or rather struck the attention of the critics, Immigrants, which was shot in 1963. Can I go on? Okay, so migrants, at that time, Italian immigrants, there were many people that emigrated to Germany, England, or other countries, or even the United States. And this anxiety of having to take the train, not to lose the connection, it really struck me. So I followed these migrants very strictly, closely, and I captured some faces that expressed their worries, concern, anxiety, the pain, the need that they had to find a new job in other countries, not in Italy. And then the next year, 1964, I followed the theme of passion for sports, for football, for soccer. The supporters that dedicated their Sundays to their favorite passion, to their team of their heart. But this was not just a documentary about sports. It was about the need to let go, to make their repression explode, and to let go their violence, to vent their violence. So when the umpire did not assign the penalty kick to the football player or a goal, etc., they used to vent their frustration. They shouted, and sometimes even beat each other up. So it became really a way to document a fact, a reality in Italy. The reality of football. I wanted to document the basic instinct, the energy and violence that we all have in our body, and is trying to find a way out. So the documentary at the time was a very interesting channel because it helped me document a fact and to document also the emotions, very deep emotions or feelings that are inside our souls, so in different forms. So these are very important, the witness, of instincts, of, for example, that are present in each of us. In a different way, but in different countries, but they're all present in all of us. Okay, right, so you have chosen these two moments of your career as a documentary director, Migrants and EVASI, and the last one, FESTA, 2016. Yes. Next to the ones that I shot a few years ago at the very beginning of my career, I wanted to show also this choice, the last work that dates back to 2016, Party Festa, a day of celebration, a celebration in a village. Because I come from a very small village from Lombardy, next to the Garda Lake, but that doesn't really matter, In every village there is a tradition, and it's still there, to celebrate on the occasion of saints, etc., And people find themselves together, they dance, they eat together. So we know that eating together on Sunday is very, very important for the Italian tradition, to express and cultivate the social instinct, social life. And in this occasion, when I filmed this celebration, the celebration of St. Peter's, 21st of June, I think, it was a summer night, so the people used to go to the Mass, and the priest, the parish, recommended people not to be freed from temptations, etc. And then at the end he said, okay, you can go and dance now, because after the ceremony there was, in the courtyard in front of the church, people could dance. There was an orchestra ready there that started to play, and everyone started to dance. Everyone, every age, teenagers, young people, old people. It's so nice to see the people of two old people, 80 years of age, that danced all night, while the young couples looked for the opportunity to embrace and to express their sensuality. And then the old people were, happy to show their ability to manage their body and have fun. On this occasion, I included not just images of joy and vitality and the positive aspects of human relationships, but also other images that expressed sadness, which accompanies more or less, sooner or later, our life. So isolation, loneliness, melancholy. So all my documentaries, I try to do this, to put side by side happiness and positive aspects, but also the negative aspects, to keep in mind the fact that this mood exists in all of us. Sometimes loneliness, sadness, inability to be part of a group, suffering. And this is a human condition. We feel it particularly now with the pandemic, but it's present always, in our lives. This aspect of our existence is always there. And we need to be very careful. We need to pay attention and help the people that are going through this difficult time of their lives, in their existence, and try to see the beauty and share the happiness with the people that are happy. So let's celebrate, like in every aspect, in every film, I always use this game of shadow and light to show that there are moments in your life that can be happy, other times can be sad. And that will be always present in human life. Okay, thank you. I'd like to remind, we're about to conclude, and the vision of these three works. I'd like to remind you that he was born in 1933. And this is my last question. How has your eye changed inside the camera over this long journey as a documentary film director? I don't think it has changed. I'm going to disappoint you. It hasn't changed. It's always the same eye that wants to explore the shadows, the lights that are present in our existence. Not just human beings, but also animals. We don't have time for this now, but there is a special care for animals, the vegetation, the plants. We are invaded by animals, not just the pets, but also the virus, for example. Coronavirus has invaded our lives, all cities, and there are also many other microorganisms that surround us, and we don't know them, and they can create battles and wars, and the life is always changing. So somehow this is what I want to do, to show as I said, I always keep in mind that fact that habits change, but I've always wanted to explore these aspects of life when I was young, but also now that I'm an old child. Absolutely. Thank you so much for these extraordinary words. Before going to conclude this meeting today, for our audience, we have so many people present today. There is going to be a game, a documentary game, and then we will conclude. I'd like Daniele to start the first documentary for the quiz.
De tu alma, o tu amor es mi necesidad.
Abbiamo voluto rendere omaggio con questo primo documentario, non sono stati tantissimi, però ci tenevamo molto perché ritorneremo.
Okay, so we want to pay a tribute with this first documentary for the quiz, for the movie game. We really wanted to show this because we will go back to this extraordinary documentary film director, Valentina Pedicini. She passed away on the 29th. This was one of her most famous, the last documentaries that she made last year in 2019, and it was Faith. Now I'd like to show you the second documentary.
Su El Pibe de Oro, su Diego Armando Maradona, tantissimo si è detto, tantissimo si è visto e molto ancora si sentirà su di lui e si vedrà di quello
So,
che è
El Pibe de Oro, Diego Armando Maradona, so many things were said, and a lot will be heard about him. We will see more about what he did during his long life as a man and as a football player. So this was a documentary, a very long documentary, more than 2 hours, dedicated to the life of Diego Armando Maradona. But we received many answers about this. I'm sure that many people are more knowledgeable about football. So before leaving you to the pictures, the sounds and the emotions of these 3 fantastic documentaries of Franco Piavoli, I'd like to give the floor to Camilla Gallea, the director of the Italian Cultural Institute of Amsterdam. Yes, thank you. Thank you to these participants of the first meeting, inaugural meeting. We are all it was a very big privilege for us to have the Undersecretary of the Cultural Heritage, Mrs. Anna Laura Orrico, and I'm really honored to have with us the Attaché of the Italian Affairs and also the other guests. Before giving the floor to the Attaché of the Italian Affairs, Veronica Ferrucci, I would like to express my admiration for Maestro Piavoli and say that his answer is the reason why, as a director of the Italian Cultural Institute of Amsterdam, I have decided to create and propose this series of documentaries. The fact that you have the same eye means that we need to look at the world with the children's eyes. Consider the world as something that must be discovered. Even a party or the sea or the sky must be looked and interpreted with different eyes, because it can give us a better knowledge of life and about ourselves. This was said by Pascoli before me. We need to look at the world with the children's eye. So this is a good interpretation to solve the current situation, the dramatic situation we're going through at the moment. I'd like to give the floor to Veronica Ferrucci to conclude this meeting tonight, and I'd like to thank you so much for your presence today. Thank you. Thank you from the bottom of my heart to everyone, to Maestro Piavoli and his beautiful words. He touched my heart when he spoke about how in his documentaries there is always the light, the joy, but also the sadness and the darkness. And this is true always, especially now. We feel it more. So thank you for your beautiful words. Thank you for your words of hope, Mrs. Gallea. I hope, but I'm also certain that this initiative will give a very important contribution to Italian documentaries, which is a genre that is not very popular abroad. Our production is not so famous yet. In the last few years, like Mrs. D'Amico said and Pampinella said, is growing at the moment. In the Netherlands, people are have a big awareness about documentaries. So I'm sure that thanks to this initiative by Mrs. Gallea in cooperation with RAI, we will be able to make our documentaries well known to the general public. Thank you so much, and I wish you a very good evening. Thank you. See you tomorrow then.
La mattina ci svegliamo verso le 2. Io consiglio a tutti, fate gli attori, che sta a fare l'ingegnere?
Anche oggi si guadagna domani.
110 veloci.
Sono un vecchio sparring partner.
La paura non è debolezza, anzi, è nella paura che si viene il coraggio.